Breaking news. Russia has just declared World War III. I repeat, an official Kremlin spokesperson has announced that a global war has begun. The West is now on high alert. This is not a drill. Stay with us. What would you do if you turned on the news and heard that World War III had officially begun? Moments ago, that became a reality for millions as Russia issued a catastrophic declaration. We are breaking down what happens next. We are interrupting our scheduled programming for a breaking news alert of a scale not seen in decades. The words every world leader, every citizen, has dreaded. A Russian state media propagandist, with direct links to the Kremlin, has officially declared on air that World War III has begun. This is not a drill. This is not speculation. This is a calculated statement from within Moscow's power structure that has sent shockwaves through intelligence agencies from Washington to London to Berlin. The West is now on high alert. We are live, across the globe, to bring you every angle of this developing story. Let's begin with the moment that has changed the global landscape. This declaration did not come from a random blogger, but from one of Russia's most prominent state television hosts, a known ally of Vladimir Putin. The host stated, and we quote, "The special military operation is over. There is no longer any discussion. We are now in a state of full-scale war. And this war is not against just the Ukrainian regime, but against the entire collective West that supports it. They are pouring weapons into Ukraine. They are fighting a proxy war. And so, we must admit the obvious. World War III has begun. It has already started." Powerful, deliberate, and terrifying words. World War III has begun. Now, we must be clear, this is not an official declaration of war from the Kremlin itself. But in the tightly controlled media environment of Russia, such a statement would never be made without at least tacit approval from the very top. This is a message, a signal, and the West is receiving it loud and clear. So, how is the West reacting? The answer, with immediate and heightened vigilance. We have confirmed reports of emergency meetings being called in capitals across NATO. Our sources indicate the Pentagon has moved to a heightened level of alert, a significant increase in readiness. Intelligence sharing between the Five Eyes Alliance, the US, UK, Canada, Australia, and New Zealand, has been put on a 24/7 real-time footing. The mood at NATO headquarters is one of extreme seriousness, but not panic. I am told an emergency session of the North Atlantic Council, NATO's principal decision-making body, concluded just moments ago. While there is an understanding that this is likely psychological warfare from Moscow, it is being treated with the utmost gravity. The fear is that this rhetoric could be a pretext for a drastic escalation on the ground in Ukraine, perhaps even a mobilization order or a declaration of a national war footing. NATO's message is unified. We will defend every inch of Allied territory. The watchword is deterrence. They are putting on a show of force to prevent any miscalculation from Moscow. We are also receiving confirmation of emergency meetings at the White House and State Department in Washington, D.C. The entire Western security apparatus is now fully engaged. To decode the Kremlin strategy, we turn to our analysis. This is classic Russian hybrid warfare. The goal is threefold. First, to terrify the populations of Europe and the West, to test their resolve and see if support for Ukraine wavers under the threat of Armageddon. Second, to prepare the Russian population for a long, bloody, and total war, justifying further mobilization and economic hardship. And third, it's a threat. It's Putin saying, if you continue to support Ukraine, you are risking a global confrontation. It's a game of nuclear brinkmanship, and it's incredibly dangerous. From a military perspective, what does high alert actually look like? For the average citizen, you may see nothing. But behind the scenes, it is a flurry of activity. Bomber crews are on standby. Nuclear submarines are relaying new orders. Satellite surveillance is focused intensely on Russian strategic forces, their mobile missile launchers, their bomber bases. The key is to look for any physical movement that matches this rhetorical escalation. So far, we have not seen that. The alert is a precaution, a necessary one, to ensure we are not caught off guard. The situation is grave, but it is not yet a shooting world war. And at the heart of all this, the nation that has been fighting for its survival for over 2 years, Ukraine. On the front lines, the Russian declaration of a world war is met with grim determination. For these soldiers, the world war began on February 24, 2022. The rhetoric from Moscow changes little about their daily reality of artillery barrages and drone attacks. However, there is a real concern that this new language could precede a massive new Russian offensive. The urgent plea from Kyiv remains the same. We need more weapons, now more than ever. The Ukrainian president is scheduled to address the nation within the hour. The shockwaves of this announcement are being felt far beyond the battlefield. Global markets are in freefall. Oil and gas prices have skyrocketed on fears of a complete supply disruption. Gold, a classic safe haven asset, is soaring. Cybersecurity firms are reporting a massive surge in probing attacks on Western energy, financial, and transportation infrastructure, believed to be originating from Russian state-affiliated groups. This is a multi-front battle, and the digital front is now on a war footing. So, where do we go from here? The world holds its breath. The next 24 to 48 hours are critical. We will be watching for several key indicators. First, the Kremlin's official response. Will they walk this back or double down? Second, any unusual military movements from Russian strategic forces. Third, NATO's tangible actions. Will we see more troops rush to the eastern flank? And fourth, the global south. How will nations like China, India, and Brazil react? Will they condemn the rhetoric or blame the West? This is a perilous moment in history. The language of World War III is now on the table, used as a weapon. The hope in every capital is that it remains a weapon of words and not of deeds. We will, of course, stay with this story all night. For every development, every reaction, you'll see it here first on Times Now World. Thank you for watching.